As a historian, I would point out, though, that the term religion is a bit of a modern term, modern in the sense of early modern Europe and on, like 16th, 17th century Europe and on. The Latin word religio, from which it derives, has a less specific meaning than we would give religion today. Less specific in terms of, he was saying there's different religions, plural word. Religio more as an attitude of piety and morality that one would hold. And religions is a more of a modern, even strongly Enlightenment term that would say, well, that's a religion, that's a different religion, etc. The definition that I would probably use most often would be something similar to that used by someone like Paul Tillich, a major 20th century theologian, that religion is about an ultimate commitment that one makes. And so close to what you were saying about a metaphysical framework for valuing things and such. So in my view, at least, many people who don't believe in God are religious because they will have ultimate commitments in their lives that do structure and order things. I know Richard Dawkins doesn't think that religion is a good thing at all, any kind of religion, but I think actually Dawkins is probably religious.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I think that Dawkins is a deeply religious man, and there are many critical things I would say of Dawkins, but I don't mean that as in a critical way.
And as a historian, one of the things I do look at sometimes and write about once in a while is the ways in which science can function as religion. And for some people it does. There's one term that's been used to describe this by Jerome Ravitz, a social philosopher, is folk science as a broader category, in which science can be a kind of folk science. I would say someone like Carl Sagan represented this, where science can function as a religion, as a source of ultimate values and meaning for people. The categories for me are a bit blurred. Since I went back to Latin for religion, let me do the same for science. The English word science does derive from a Middle French word that ultimately is rooted in the present participle, the ing word, the present participle of the verb to know in Latin. Sciens is the participle of scire, the verb to know. And so originally, science, as used prior to the early modern period, really meant knowledge, as opposed to mere opinion. That's what science meant. And it was a very broad term. And that's why it was possible in the patristic period, the Church Fathers period, for people to hold the view that theology is the queen of the sciences and philosophy is her handmaiden. That conception is rooted in the broad understanding of science. Now, of course, today, in the modern West at least, when we use this term science, it has a default meaning of natural science in most cases. And you have to park an adjective in front of it if you mean something else, like political science or social science or computer science or what have you. So it's a much narrower sense in which we have today. But again, as an historian, I find it hard to divide these things sometimes.